Alanasis, a family of documentaries made about the world and more, independently made. Welcome to the latest edition of Alanasis. On this edition of Alanasis, we'll be discussing the science of the 1982 movie The Thing. If you haven't seen The Thing, I advise that you watch it before you watch this and save this to a playlist, because it is a very interesting movie and I don't want to ruin it for you. The 1982 movie The Thing is available on many platforms. My personal favourite is the Google Play Store. You can download it there and you can have James from Reviver. Also, it's stored in the cloud, so you don't have to actually download it. You can just stream it live from them, which is quite useful. And it's on all platforms where you log into your same account. I strongly recommend that you don't download the video illegally. This is because the person that supplies you the video may have a virus on their computer that has not discovered yet. Therefore, you may have a virus on your computer that may ruin your day one day. And it's not worth it. Just to give you a scope of what the movie's about, it's about an alien creature that can imitate other life forms. It does so by consuming them or by infecting them. This creature can recognize and remember every creature that's ever assimilated in its entire existence. So if it was on another planet, it could have every creature on that planet, it could know how to reconstruct them, and it can morph into those creatures at any time. Or it can morph into a mixture of the creatures, maybe the legs of one creature and the arms of another, and so forth. As you discover in the movie, the creature has an innate ability to lie frozen in the ice in a dormant state for thousands of years, perhaps even millions of years. If the creature was real, I believe that it's artificially designed, perhaps by machines, to eliminate organic life forms and intelligent life forms on other planets. The creature is probably the size of a large virus and is probably a micro machine with a quantum computer attached to it, with the ability to make any organic molecule and also to remember all DNA that it's ever seen and reproduce it, and all proteins, and build a cell around itself, or to change the cell around itself also. The creature is not only able to copy the DNA and remember it, it's also able to remember thoughts and nerve impulses and behaviours of the creature that it takes over. And perhaps the person's mind exists in the creature as a thought inside the cells, inside the quantum computers of these little cells. The first instance we see of the creature is the dog fleeing from the Norwegian helicopter crew. No one at the research station understands why they're shooting at the dog or trying to kill it, and that dog's allowed to roam around the base for a long time without being disturbed, and later put into the kennel. When the dog's in the kennel, he's amongst a bunch of other dogs, and during the night time it decides to turn into a spider snake with a dog's torso. The reason it does this is because that dog came from a Norwegian base and it's assimilated other mammals, and it knows that mammals are afraid of snakes, and it knows that some mammals are afraid of spiders also. And that causes the other dogs to turn their backs to it and try and flee. The American research crew soon kill the dog by blasting it with a flamethrower. The crew's meteorologist, George Bennings, goes too close to the corpse of the thing with the tentacles ready to attack. The creature grabs a hold of his neck with a tentacle, then grabs the rest of his body, rips his arms off so it can't pull the tentacles off, and then floods his entire body with acid and the thing organisms, and then completely copies him. They discover the attack before it's finished, and the thing doesn't get a chance to rebuild their arms and hands. The incomplete Bennings imitation is attacked and burnt by the crew. The geologist, Norris, is also assimilated by the thing, but it's not clear when he's assimilated. He could have been assimilated by Palmer, or by the dog, or he could have touched Bennings, or perhaps when he carried the split face, or maybe he touched something, the sample, that was contaminated. Norris was known to have a heart condition, and when the thing imitated him, it also had the heart condition, because it imitated him precisely the way he was. I believe that the thing decided to leave him ignorant so that he did not know that he was the thing, so that he was overcome with stress from the situation, and the stress caused the heart attack. The heart attack was not staged because it happened in private. He started having heart pains when there was no one around, no one saw him. During a struggle in the hallway, he had a full heart attack and the heart arrested completely and he fell flat on the floor. The doctor of the crew gave him a defibrillation shock to start his heart again, but the thing didn't know that it was trying to help him, and it opened a mouth in his chest and bit his arms off. During the whole time he had the heart attack, the thing was rebuilding a copy of him inside his torso. What was his dead heart was now a head, and his stomach was a torso, and his legs were growing out of it. It jumped out of his body, and if you look carefully at the footage, you can actually see hands pushing him out as he jumps out. I believe that the thing that was jumping out of his torso was originally meant to be a rebuild of his body, like the thing's attempt to make a rebuild of him after a failed heart attack. The reason that it did that is it was using like a Russian doll technique. It was building him from the inside out, and it would just absorb the cells. But when the defibrillation situation happened, it decided to change a plan, and it would use the incomplete body as a distraction, and it would try and make something with the torso that was left on the bed. McCready was having none of it, just torched him straight away. But even then, the head started to roll off and onto the floor and turned into a spider, because inside the head was the still living cells from the thing creature imitation. That was also torched. Palmer was next to reveal himself as a thing through force, through a test that they devised. Before the test started, he was very much aware he was a thing, and you can actually see that he was very nervous, and he was looking around very nervously. Just like Norris, it's not clear when he's assimilated, but I have a feeling that he was assimilated soon after the doctor destroyed all the vehicles, because he's a mechanic and he knows how to fix them. And the thing needs the vehicles to get out of that place. They devised a test with a hot needle where they knew that the blood would try and escape from the hot needle if it was the thing's blood. So he was the one that was the thing in the group. Palmer knew that McCready would try and blast him with a flamethrower. So he changed his skin, his exposed skin, and puffed it up with air and water to try and buy him time, to make it insulated, to make it the heat wouldn't be able to pass through his body as easily that way. And then his bones would go soft as well, so that he could turn his head into a giant jaw and break free of his restraint. And he used that to grab hold of windows and flood his body with the tissues from the thing, take him over. But they're both blasted with fire in the end when he got the flamethrower to work. The last person to expose himself as the thing is Blair, the general doctor and biologist of the group. And what he did was he grabbed hold of the surviving crew, liquefied them, and turned them into their combined bodies into a giant snake-like creature that burst through the floor. Earlier on, he was seen to be insane, but he wasn't insane because he knew that the thing was a very hazardous creature and it would destroy the world as he knew it. So he was just acting on his knowledge, and he was trying to quarantine the whole site. So he's the one that destroyed all the vehicles on the site also. I believe that Blair was taken over when he was imprisoned in the tool shed because he went AWOL, he went insane and tried to kill everyone or shoot everyone and destroyed all the radio in the vehicles. But it turns out he wasn't insane because he just knew too much. He knew that the thing was dangerous and it would destroy the world as we knew it. So he was just trying to stop the thing from spreading. So he was clearly human at that stage. But while he was in the tool shed, perhaps one of the infected crew went there and went out and visited him and took him over, crawled through the hole maybe, and got him in there. I believe that the thing came to the planet Earth in the movie because it took over another alien crew that were visiting another planet where the thing lived. The reason I think that is because it's not logical to have such a large spacecraft for such a small creature. That's a human-sized creature. Well, not human, it's a bit bigger than a human, but it's not that much bigger. Maybe the size of a cow or the size of a buffalo. And that doesn't make sense to have such a large spacecraft for such a small creature that essentially freezes itself and lies dormant. The creature was found outside the spacecraft, so perhaps the spacecraft itself has some kind of biological defense system that stops for quarantining creatures. Perhaps it filled itself with hot plasma, and the creature jumped out just before it got done burning him. And the rest of the crew had all died, and then he was the one that survived. The crew that were in the ship were incinerated, but they were all taken over by the thing. And the crew that went to that was the same crew that was on another planet. They visited Earth, and then they went to this planet where the thing was, and then they came back to Earth because when it took them over, it knew where Earth was. It knew that Earth, what Earth was, and what it had to offer for itself. It's also possible that the ship was being chased and simply hid in the ice to escape being attacked and destroyed by the other ship that wasn't infected. The movie The Thing is my favourite movie of all time. Although it's made in 1982, it's a brilliant movie and it's still good to watch today. And you can get a digitally remastered version of the film for peanuts, basically. So I recommend you get a copy yourself. I hope they don't mind me pulling pictures off of their video. But it is for commentary purposes only and for science. So legally I am allowed to do that. But I hope they don't mind anyway. And I hope you get a copy of that video and watch it. It's a brilliant movie. It's my favourite movie. And maybe in my next video I'll be talking about amazing facts about fruits. So until next time, goodbye.